working on recently and discovered recently is that the system can work with a longer wavelength pigment, which is working in close to the near IR, near infrared, low energy stuff. Other people discovered this. They discovered that chlorophyll F existed and it would exist as a small number of pigments in a chlorophyll A containing system, but it was still had these extra pigments. And people got excited about it and thought that it could be interesting that we were using long wavelength light. And I said, well, it's not going to work. And they said, well, it's only working anyway as a light collector, and it's not working to do the chemistry. So it must be passing that excitation, using the heat in the environment to pass that excitation uphill towards where the chemistry was occurring at the same long wavelength, P680, 680 nanometers, as all the other ones on the planet. And then we did some experiments on it, and we found, in fact, that the chemistry is actually occurring at the long wavelength as well. These things, when they get trapped in the shade of other photosynthetics where there's no visible light coming through, then they've got a spare set of genes, which when they've been waiting for a while, they'll just switch on and they will put in new photosynthetic apparatus, completely new proteins, which have still mostly got chlorophyll A, the normal chlorophyll, but have also got a handful of these other chlorophylls, which they put in place for light collection at very long wavelengths. In fact, they do work uphill, but they also have chlorophyll F as doing the chemistry. And that's working at long wavelength, and that means that the overall amount of energy that's going in to do water splitting is actually less than all the other things on the planet. What compromises are being made? How does it do this trick? And if it's so good, why isn't it taking over the whole planet? For a long time I thought this is you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. It's going to be, but this is a clever trick, and it's a clever trick for specific conditions, vertical farming. So then you're controlling all the light conditions. There's no variation. So this thing doesn't have to get compromised by the stuff that goes on in the wild. So maybe it's useful for that. Maybe it's useful for having, you know, if you're in a submarine or on the spaceship to Mars and you want to grow stuff, it'll work because you're using growing stuff under those conditions. That could be useful. Then I realized that this would be really interesting for normal agriculture, because normal agriculture has canopies of leaves, and at the bottom of the canopy the leaves are actually shaded by the other photosynthetic stuff above. And it seemed to me that if, and it's not me that does this, but if clever bioengineers could put the same system, the same controlled, regulated system that goes on in these cyanobacteria, to put these special long wavelength shade photosystems into their systems, then they could essentially activate the canopy leaves at the bottom of your maize plant or your wheat plant and all the rest of it. Figure out how much gain you would get in crop yield by doing that, and it's very big.